Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is James Gilliland. Actually, I think I'm correct in saying, and I'm very proud in saying, that I think we kind of introduced James to the whole UFO community in general. Because actually, James is really a spiritual seeker. He's perhaps a little more serious at it than most of us. And I happened to read his book, Becoming Gods. And I wasn't more than a couple of chapters into the book, then my body was vibrating and my hair was standing up in the back of my neck, and I was on the phone to him, asking him to come and talk to the Congress. And I think his first response was, well, gee, I don't know exactly what I'm going to have to say to a UFO group. So we discussed it, and then he agreed that he would have a lot to say to us. I continued reading his work, and his second book, Becoming Gods 2, expanded into interdimensional mind, earth changes, the quickening, UFOs, their origins and intentions. Turns out that James is extremely connected on all sorts of levels. Myself, for the first time this year, I finally made it out to James's sanctuary, which is in Washington State. It's a gorgeous place, unbelievably beautiful, unbelievable energy. About 80 acres up there. It's near Mount Adams. And James has been telling all of us about the activity that goes on up there. And yet, from certain sources, he's being attacked, he's being vilified as the biggest hoaxer to ever hit the block. Guys, it's not so. It's real. James is real. He is exactly who and what he says he is. Activity is extraordinary up there. On the one night that I was able to be with him a few months ago, when I arrived, guess who was there? Tom Dongo. I think most of you in the audience know Tom Dongo. Probably has the greatest collection of anomalous photos in the world. Not necessarily UFO, but anomalous. All sorts of paranormal stuff. And when I met Tom up there, he comes up to me, and he was kind of at a loss for how to speak. But he finally just sort of blurted it out. He says, Bob, I've been here for 3 days. I've seen more stuff than I've seen in my whole life. Tom Dongo. That's a quote. James will be at the author table to meet with you all. His books will be available. You can get his books and his new video, which chronicles most all of the sightings and activity up there to date. They're available at the Congress tables, and you guys can queue up with your books and your videos, and he'll meet with all of you at the author table and sign the books following his presentation. Now, get ready to spend an awesome, wonderful, enlightening hour and a half with James Gilliland. James?
First of all, I really want to give my heartfelt thanks to Bob Brown, Terry Brown, and the staff, and everyone here that's come here. I know you've had some pretty incredible odds to overcome to get here. And not just with your everyday activities and the things going on right now on the planet, but just the struggle within your own consciousness and your own families and things of that nature. So this is where the real credit goes, I feel, is to the people that are really working hard to put this on, and the people who came here as well that struggled to come here. The opportunity to speak here is wonderful. There's been a lot of censorship and a lot of not being able to get this out. Even in my own town, the area, I've been censored from events and things of that nature, because my message isn't just one thing. It doesn't just cover grays or abductions or black ops. It doesn't cover spiritual matters. It doesn't cover, we're connected in with Baba G and the other, blend of East and West. So it covers a whole area, a large topic, or it just covers the whole thing, because what happened to me probably about 21, almost 22 years ago now, I had a near-death experience, and it blew me wide open to what I call interdimensional mind. And what's happening right now with all of us, right, is that the veils are all coming down right now. There's an incredible vibrational lifting happening, and this experience that we're going into right now with these new energies is actually measurable. It's photographed, and I have a lot of this. I don't have enough time to cover everything that I have because it's about a whole day seminar, but I'll cover as much as I can to explain what's going on. But basically, there is a vibrational lifting underway. It begins in consciousness. It moves down the vibrational continuum into light, into energy, into mass. And we're all multidimensional beings existing on a vibrational continuum. So I'm not going to talk too much about the nuts and bolts stuff, because that's, basically the intellect and this physical reality is just a drop in the sea of consciousness. And I'm going to try to talk about the other 99%. This is 1%, this physical reality here. There's another 99% out there, which we're going to get into. And that's when you really start making contact. When you rise to the occasion and you get past your body and your personality, and you realize that you're a spirit that has a body and a personality, that's when you start going into what I call interdimensional mind, and you start having contact. And the contact gets greater and greater and greater as you move up the vibrational continuum. You experience more benevolent, more loving, more spiritual beings that have technologies beyond your wildest dreams, and they live that way. Their technology is a reflection of their spirituality and their high state of evolution. And these are the ones that we're working with, and they're doing a lot of work with us to bring this to the earth right now. A lot of people are worried about being invaded from Iran and Iraq and wherever, Afghanistan. We're being invaded by spirit right now, and it's our own God selves coming down through the vibrational continuum, and these other beings that serve creation that are focusing their energies in on earth right now. And what you're seeing with all this turmoil is the balancing of karma. It's the old stuff rising up. It's like a soup, and everything is rising up, and it's being cleaned out right now. And that's what we're in right now. We're going to be in some very intense times between now and 2004. There's a major quickening, a major karmic balancing happening, and that's what we're experiencing. And we're not innocent in this by any means. America is not innocent. And one thing I wanted to explain before I go into this too is that the vibrational continuum, as you ascend upwards through this vibrational continuum, to get into the higher levels, you're going to experience any pain or suffering or loss that's created to others. And even if you built weaponry or things like that, you're going to experience the pain that weaponry created and the loved ones around that person that might have killed or harmed or injured. So it's just the way it is. You can't get away from karma. It's a spiritual law. There is one escape, and it's called forgiveness and service. And that's the only way out. So if we shift into, thank you. If we shift into forgiveness and service, and start working towards the awakening and healing of humanity and the earth, and directing our assets and energies to this direction, that is the only way out. And the polarities right now are giving us a choice, and there's a downward spiral where we're going to continue to go into war and againstness and judgment and condemnation, all this other nonsense. It's going to be accelerated, and we know what happens when that gets accelerated. Karma gets accelerated, we take the downward spiral, boom, our evolutionary process takes a big dive. Or we can take the upward spiral and focus on universal peace and brother-sisterly love and seeing the Creator in all creation, and shift into love and compassion and service. And then we're going to see the upward spiral, which is going to expand, expand, expand into just unlimited love and joy and bliss is where you end up on that spiral. So anyway, that's my suggestion to everybody, is to take the upward spiral right now. It's not optional. This is where the earth is going, and you're going to see a lot of turmoil in between, and it's just the cleansing, the healing, and the balancing of karma. And as an individual, each and every one of us need to go within and see how we're contributing to that. Contributing. Don't buy into the fear, don't buy into the againstness, the separation, all the other nonsense that's being perpetrated on you right now. That's to hold the frequencies down. You know, because fear and anger and againstness and judgment, all those energies have a very low frequency. And those are going to have reactions to them as well, because every action has a reaction, every thought has a manifestation. And that's what we really need to do, is take full responsibility now for our own awakening healing process and what we're contributing to the collective right now. And it's very important, because, you know, just one of you that's tapped in can affect thousands, millions of people, because we live in a sea of consciousness, and that can go out and touch everybody around you. And when you expand and you make your own personal God connection, whatever you call that, whatever that means for you, then you're going to be affecting everyone. When you walk into a room, you're going to be affecting everyone. And on the outskirts of your aura, you're going to be touching everyone. You may not see it, but I'm going to show you a little bit of that activity that's happening. We've actually have it on film so you can understand a little more of it. I want to get into the move through the UFO. That was the first part I wanted to start out with, but I really want to get into the UFO thing, because a lot of people say, well, what does this have to do? What does UFO have to do with spirituality? Some of the beings that I've been working with are intently spiritual masters. After my near-death experience, I was having visions and inward contacts, and then they're manifesting in the outer world as well. And we have photographs of the energies of some of these manifestations. But on the request of some of these very high masters, there's some very spiritually and technologically advanced beings that are coming to the earth right now, and they're coming to help. And there are some low-level contacts that are here now that are rooting in, that are getting an eviction notice. And they're on their way out. So again, you have to align with the higher frequencies, the higher consciousness and energy. And it's no longer optional. We need to get with the program and start going forward with this. Why are these ETs, or whatever you want to call them? I call them the greater family of man. You know, the star nations, they're our ancient ancestors, whatever you want to call them. They're not really extraterrestrials. They've been based here. And a lot of us in this room right now are more ET in your soul than you are of Earth, because this is just your little vehicle you're cruising around in here right now. But in your soul, you're a vast being, and you've experienced off-world existences, and you've been all over the universe. You know, you just forgot. And what's happening is the memories are being brought back to you. The veils are coming down. The soul is being activated. That's the fail-safe mechanism. So when you get to a certain level of degeneration or whatever, there's a fail-safe mechanism within the soul that kicks on, and all of a sudden you start remembering, and the frequencies are kicking up, and that's what we're all doing right now. And the veils are coming down, and that's why you're seeing all these little shadow people and visions and higher beings. You're seeing all these things happening around you right now. It's because of the vibrational lifting. And we can explain this either technologically or spiritually, any way you need it. I like the spiritual approach, but we can actually physically measure this, monitor it, and show you exactly what's going down on that, which is another long story we don't have time for. But I'd like to cue the sound first, and I want you to hear a mothership that's hovering over Portland State University, just to give you a little understanding about what some of the things that they're doing for us right now. And it's a very deep pulse. I'm going to let that continue to play a little bit, and it's going to change. We'll keep it going, and you're going to hear another pulse coming in right after this goes in. And what they're doing is, I asked them, I said, well, what are you doing hovering over Portland State University? And they said higher learning. And they're over the whole university at 2 o'clock in the morning, working with people in their sleep state. And when you're sleeping, you're actually out of body when you're sleeping. You're actually sitting right above your body, laying there. And a lot of things are happening. There's a lot of teachings going on, a lot of contact happening during this process. And a lot of people are saying, oh, this isn't real, this is my imagination. Well, you know, even imagination is real on the level of imagination. So you know, when you get into the vibration continuum, almost anything goes. So it's a really good idea to get our consciousness in order. This is going to move on a little further, and then we're going to get a pulse coming in. And some of the physicists I'm working with are analyzing this, and all of a sudden they said, I heard this somewhere. I heard this before, and this same sound. And here it's going to come in. And it's modulating at the same. Does anybody know what this is? It's the sun. This is the pulse coming from the sun. And this will give you a little idea about the technologies that they have. They have full use of creational energies. And they know how to move things through tones and pulses. And how to set things into motion. And we send our little fighters up, you know, and we try to shoot them down and steal their technology and take their, you know, incarcerate them and things like this. And I want people to ask, go within and just say, okay, in the interest of national security, is it wise to take a F-17 up there or late model back engineered stuff and try to shoot down one of these? You know, it's not real smart, because they can turn a planet into a cinder, and they can, and luckily they're very benevolent and very forgiving, and they live according to universal law, and that's the only reason. They just take the high road and don't bother. Okay, we can cut that now. It's real important to understand what we're working with here. This goes far beyond the nuts and bolts and the black projects and you know, some of the abduction stuff. This is way beyond this is what we're dealing with. And these beings that are coming in here right now, they're here to help. They're here to help us clean up the planet and clean up the consciousness here. And we have to rise to the occasion if we're going to get that help. And they're also here on the call of many, many masters that have been doing their, you know, sweat lodges. They're doing their prayer circles. They're doing all kinds of prayers out there asking for help, and help is coming. And it's here right now, and there's going to be a lot of changes happening very quick. And so it's a good idea to rise to the occasion and try to rise up and connect with these higher beings, whatever you call them, angelic guides, ascended masters, spiritually and technologically advanced beings. There is a major cavalry, whatever you want to call them. They're coming. And they're coming in right now because of these changes. I want to cue the first video and just show you a little bit about what's happening at the ranch. Got the first video on there? All right. Okay, I want you to watch this. I'm going to move out here a little bit for this. Why don't you watch? What's that? It's fine. I want to watch this thing. It's going through the clouds. I need to turn down the lights a little. Okay, this is going through the clouds. You can see it going. It's going underneath the clouds, through the clouds, underneath the clouds. This is in our atmosphere. This is not a meteor. This is not a satellite. As you look closer, you're going to watch this. It's going to move. Oh, I missed that one. Okay. If you look closer, you can see it actually landed. It went behind the trees and landed on the ranch. It's a little hard to see from this angle. This one here, watch the colors. This is going to expand. It's going to throw off a purple light. There it goes. You can see the purple aura around it. There it went just by. This is Arcturus. It just went by Arcturus. It's moving very quickly. It threw off a large purple aura, and now it's going to throw off a violet aura. So it went through two color changes as it went by. You can go ahead and turn that up. Turn up the sound to hear a little bit of the background. Violet. He's still doing it. You can turn it down a little bit. Or... This guy's moving. Oh, he's
That's good.
throwing off some more. Whoa, he's gone. There, Paul. There he's going off. Can you see the aura around this? The lights coming around these. These are the coronal discharges coming from these objects. Now we have these things making right angle turns. We have them stopping. You'll see the next one. You're going to see it. I believe the next one you're going to see it come in very dim, stop, power up, and accelerate. Now if we have a satellite that does that, I don't know about it. But Apparently one certain UFO investigator in our neck of the woods believes that all we're seeing is meteors and satellites, and has gone on record even though he hasn't come up to the ranch. Okay, here we go. Watch this one here. You see him coming in right here? Very dim. There. Powers up, takes off.
He just put on the afterburners. Did you see that?
Now, to my knowledge, I don't know any satellites that do that, that will sit, come in dim, sit, power up, and then accelerate. And that's a new one for me. Here we have one of our landings. Now, there's 12 hours of footage of this activity up there. I had to really cut out a lot of this.
It's on the ground, whatever it is, and it's big.
We have them doing all kinds of things here. Now, this is night footage. You can see the, can you see the mountain? Here's the outline of Mount Adams right here.
Yeah.
Now, this particular ship landed. This is in wilderness area. There's no vehicles whatsoever that can be up in this area. This is actually 12 miles away. The object is putting out perfect light. It's not a halogen or a sodium light. And it's actually going to lift off really quick.
Another UFO.
Okay, now what happens is it took off. It was on the ground, and all of a sudden it appeared right above it.
Right over our heads.
And it let off, and it went to the east. And then a jet came in and chased it. And it led the jet off on a little chase, and it just vanished and then came back.
Northeast, actually.
But we watch them sitting there, and a jet will come in on it, and they disappear. And the jet goes by, and they reappear and fly right up their tailpipe. And a little display of their technology. We've also seen one of our agencies brought out some equipment, and they shot both some kind of a plasma weapon. According to the physicists that were there at the moment, they shot pulse lasers and a plasma weapon at one of these ships as it went over the ranch. And they fired everything they had at it, and it didn't even, the only thing, it got a little brighter, and it just kept going. It didn't even phase it, and it kept moving. So these groups here, these higher beings, there's nothing we can do to them. Their technologies are far beyond anything, even our back-engineered stuff.
What's going on here?
And it's really time to, you know, in the interest of national security, you have a force like that, it's better to align with it and make it your friend, you know.
Brain object.
But we don't get that for some reason. We think we can overcome or overtake anything.
Lighting up in the same place. Now this is strange because it looked as though it took off because another UFO appeared above it, and now we got something on the ground. Okay, here we have a jet coming in. You can hear the sound from the jet very easily. You see the running.
So there's a standard jet right here coming in. It's
probes coming in on this intercept course with the last UFO. Okay, now I'm coming back to the mountain.
So the jet went off, you know, on a little merry chase. Now we have the UFO back on the land again. Came back and landed.
Up the side of the mountain.
Yeah, this is handheld right here. Yeah, I think we need to turn down some of these lights. Is there any way we can dim these lights out here to see this a little better?
People can see a reference point as to where it is. There's Mount Adams.
Okay.
Light in the lower right.
That's the best we can do.
We're going to zoom in on this light. You can see it's a very brilliant light.
That's a little better.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, here we go. See this? It's letting out a little probe.
Behind it to the left.
There's another little probe coming out of it. Up here.
You know what I wanted to do this summer?
Okay, here. Here we have the mountain again. This is the top of the mountain up here.
Okay, we'll be up.
Okay.
This is probably about 10,000 feet.
We'll be up.
Come on, light her up. Light her up. Light her up again. This is a huge light on the mountain.
This is 12 miles away. And this is a little Sony $200 camera filming all this.
Again, it's pulsing back at us. It shot a huge pulse right at the camera.
How about close contact this summer? We'll be up. We'll be up.
Yeah.
No,
There it goes.
look at that.
You see, these are totally responding to consciousness, and they also respond to lights and lasers, because we shoot lasers up at them, and they just totally light up and give us a little high five as they fly over. Now, this particular ship, this is actually an Arcturian ship. We were having conscious contact with them at the time. And I want to show you what this one does, to show us that this is not, here it goes. This is not just a little light up there. Again, this is wilderness area. This is 12 miles away. There's no vehicles. Nothing can be up there without a signed letter from the governor and the head of the forestry. So here he is again. He's lighting up right here. Now it's going to really start. There he's moving. Now I've had some top physicists come up and have their own sightings, and I don't have time. I'll have some. I have them actually on film right now, but it's a real long segment, and I had to cut back on time because of certain current events that are happening right now that we need to talk about. But if anybody needs, we're going to have that full footage along with the physicists and everybody else that came up. They flew right in for the physicists, dropped right over their heads. They went side to side, hovered, powered up on cue. And when they're flying away, they took off and flew away. And we said, okay, one more time, powered up. It powered up right in front of the physicists. And it blew their mind. And so we had some people that were going to help us out and with the center and get things going. And we had a lawyer there and a banker there. And all these people came up to see if this was a real deal. And later on, you'll see where they come in. They put quite a show on. So if you're really there for a reason and you're dedicated to service and they know that you're going to help in this manner, they are going to show themselves to you. If you're just there to do looky-loo stuff and they don't really come in too low, but if you're really there on a major purpose and you're really going to help out with the awakening healing process, they really show themselves. There we go. It's really powering up here.
Look at that thing. Oh, it doubled. There it goes. It's doubling. It's split into two. It's split into two. Now it has another one. Whoa. It's doubled. Oh, now it's going back. It's morphing back into... Oh, no, it's three. It's three. No, it's two now.
I see. I can.
It's totally doing this. Whoa. Whoa. Check it out, man. Now it's a double again.
We don't watch
It's
TV at night. We come out and watch the mountain. Our TV doesn't really work. We get one fuzzy channel, so we're always out watching the mountain. They put on little shows for us. There's a jet actually that came in on this one that flew right over it and turned and got the heck out of there.
But now they both dimmed out. The one dimmed out completely and disappeared, and the other one's still here. Come on, bros. That was awesome.
This went on for over an hour.
That was a nice display.
And the other one went on for about 45 minutes. Now this is the terrain that this thing came down. It came from the very top of the mountain, which is in the clouds. You can't really see the very top. And it descended, and you can see these cliffs, sheer cliffs and snowfields. And it descended over these cliffs and just moved, just cruised right down the mountain. From the very top of the mountain, it came over the top and came down, just moved on down, did little dances here and there. And you can see these are all lava. Oops, my little light's not really, is this thing working? Oh, there we go. This is all lava fields right here, the thick boulders and lava fields. So they're basically, there's no way any kind of a vehicle or anything else could have created that experience. Now here's a nice flyover. We got the sound on that?
I got him lighting up.
Yeah, here we go.
Did you see that, Tom?
This is Tom
Oh,
Dongo.
there he goes.
Okay, now here we have a triangle. I want you to look at this. This is a giant triangle. You see this little guy right here?
Got him really
See this
good.
other guy right here?
Great footage here.
Now there's another one right over here that's going to come into view. It's right about here. This is a giant triangle. These triangles turn and they all stay synchronistic, and then they turn and they make full right angle turns.
I'm getting all
We've
three
had
now.
6 of them fly over. I had to back the camera way off to get this because of the size of it.
They're in perfect formation.
I think our other one's coming up right here.
Whoa, there they go.
Let me see, where's the...
Going right through a star.
Okay, this doesn't actually go through the star. There are points way out here. The
No, it's
point of
weird.
this
They
triangle.
are doing a perfect triangle.
I can't tell if this point is showing, but it's right about here. It has a point. There's 3. It's an elongated triangle, and they're flying in synchronistic path. Now, there's 2 things. This could be either...
There's another one.
This guy just flew. This one right here,
Huge one.
that just flew underneath the triangle. A big gold ship flew right underneath the triangle.
Triangle's flying, the huge, a real bright one just flew right through it.
Oh yeah, it's a triangle.
Now this could be one of two things. It could be an interdimensional craft, and all you're seeing is the propulsion unit, the 3 points, and it's interdimensional, or it's 3 separate craft. We're not sure. But here it's changing directions and it's moving off in the other direction. There you can see the point. Okay, this particular shot here, Tom Donga was here, and I told him, I said at 10 o'clock set up and aim right above this tree, and you're going to see a UFO appear right after 10. And so we had the camera all set up and ready to go. Watch right up here. You're going to see a little object just pop right in. There he is, right here. Can you see him? He's right here.
Oh, that's it. Oh, yeah. That's it. Right here. Oh, he's went out. Damn.
So we've shown over and over redundantly that we have pre-knowledge of these contacts before they happen. They tell us when they're going to show. We set the camera up and they're there.
They did right where they said they would.
And right now they're staying a little bit distance right now because it's,
Yeah, he's a double.
as we grow in consciousness and rise to the occasion, they'll come closer.
Extended wing. Oh, here he goes.
Here we go.
He's lighting up in this.
Now this is a physicist talking in the background.
Oh, he's expanding out. He's got a blue tail now, right up his head. He's throwing it off the end. It's a blue tail, light blue tail.
Oh, I saw it.
There you go. There's one of our physicists.
Yeah, blue tail. It's throwing a major blue tail off.
Now our camera is not doing justice to what we're seeing with the naked eye because it's a very cheap Sony, and we need to get some better equipment for this to really show what we're really seeing.
Come on, light up. Can you come back for us? Come back for us, that guy.
You should see what this guy's throwing off.
There's another one right over there, to the right of it, at about 2:30.
Now the physicists that come up, it's funny, they're the ones that scream the loudest. They're like jumping up like little kids. They're going, oh my God, you know, they really want to know what's going on. And
You can see it.
and some of these physicists have worked with these other projects that, you know, we never hear about. And when they saw these ships, they said, those aren't ours. They said they know what's been back engineered. They know what we have. And when they see these things run through their program, they realize that they aren't ours.
Going up now.
This is amazing.
The other one. Keep your eye right to the right.
I'm going to stay on this guy. I'm going to stay on this guy here.
It's right there. I can see it, barely see it going across.
Maybe they'll meet.
They might.
Okay, you guys.
There's usually not just one. There's usually 2 or 3 flying at a time. It's real interesting. You have one here and you're filming. You go, okay, which one's the brightest?
Light her up.
And you stay on the brightest one.
Light it up.
Yeah, light it up. Come on. Everybody else. Light it up.
Light it up.
Light it up.
He's going to start powering up here. They usually wait till they get direct even with us. When they get right even with us, they power up. Now some of these are below the mountain, you know, and satellites can't maintain trajectory when they're below the mountain.
Yeah, somebody flash that thing.
So now we're shooting lasers and flashlights at it. You know, we're putting the conscious intent out there to light up.
That's huge.
There we just went by a star. You can see how big this
Oh,
is.
now he's lighting up. He's powering up big time. Look at that.
There he goes.
Woo, there he goes. There, now he's lighting up. Woo-hoo, got him. Oh, man. He's bombing the thing.
Now in my viewfinder, it washed out.
Totally lit up
That washed the whole
front of the
viewfinder
screen
out,
there.
but this is all we get on the tape for some reason. But the light that came off this was phenomenal. It lit up the whole area and lit up even the rooms. Okay, this is, here we go. This is when the lawyers and bankers and the physicists were there. So we just might get some funding now. I don't know. We hope.
This guy, I got him the full light up. This is going to blow your mind.
Okay, let's cut that tape and let's move to the next one, tape number 2. All right. do a little... What's really nice up there is that they show over and over again the conscious connection, and they're like our cheerleaders. They give us the high five and they go, go, go. And they're really happy about what we're doing there. Okay, we can leave the volume off on this. I'll just explain what's going on. Here's the ship. We had pre-knowledge of this ship. And here we're flying an airliner, and they said, take your camera on the plane. This is Blajee. She's one of the contacts that we have. She's Pleiadian. And they're very beautiful. She's 450 years old and very beautiful. You fall in love as soon as you meet these beings. They're not only exquisitely beautiful, but their energy signature is incredible. Now this is going to shape-shift, and watch this. It's going to turn into a pillar. And the pillar is well known in Greek mythology, the pillars of light all throughout the Bible, the pillar clouds that are a fire by night. It's really interesting. Here this thing turns into a pillar or a cylinder. It moves in again to an arrowhead, and a lot of people have talk about, an arrowhead in the sky, or things like that. There's some old tales about this, and it's quite interesting because here this ship is shape-shifting and giving us a message. And to me, it's showing us the different cultures and how all the different cultures need to start getting along. And that, God is all the cultures. That's where everybody came from, the Creator. And it's time we start acting accordingly. And now it turns into a hand. It turns into a hand just like this. Now this is the Hebrew symbol for God, is holding the hand in just this fashion. And it has it sitting like this so we can see it. And then it goes back to a disc again. And so when these beings come in and do these things and show you, there's a very profound experience on an inner level that happens, and they're trying to give us messages that it's time to unite as one planet, one people. Okay, turn up the volume there.
Stars in the sky. Globe over here to the left of the trees that are directly behind the camera. And I noticed this as what I thought at first was a star, then moved up and down quite a bit, and I was using the tree that it was behind as a reference. And then it would move to the left and the right. There were about 8 of us here watching. None of us had met before. We watched it fly to the left and the right, and then come back to a neutral position, and then it would go up and down. It would fade away just faster than anything I've ever seen. It would just fly away, and then zoom right back within, 3 or 4 seconds later. That was pretty amazing. And then James got a real high-powered, like a huge high-powered flashlight, and made a very large shape of a triangle as a signal to the UFO. And at that time, the UFO actually morphed and changed position from a globe to a triangle. It got larger, it glowed, and it became a triangle, and then it got smaller again, and then it became just a globe again. And we watched it for about 20 minutes, and then it faded away and it didn't come back. So we all walked back over to the picnic tables, and we're sitting there looking out towards the mountain. And from these trees, from behind the trees, which is where the UFO was at, came this huge golden globe of a ball, dropped down into the valley at the northwest end over here, zoomed in front of all of us, leaving a trail of golden light. It was very close. It was between us and the mountain, so you can see that would be pretty close. It went all the way through the valley, and then when it got down to this end of the valley, it lifted up over the trees and flew back on the other side of the Mount Adams.
Well, yeah, it was back in 1988. It was on the north end of the reservation up by a tan ridge. It'd be west of the tan ridge, I guess, on the far west end of the tan ridge. It came up. There was 3 lights on whatever it was, and it came straight up vertical, like out from behind a canyon or whatever. Came up and the lights changed color, and then it moved across in a horizontal position. It must have moved like 5 miles within a quarter of a second. Just zapped that fast, and then it changed different colors again, and then it dropped back down, then it come back up, and then when it flew away, it kind of did a zigzag motion like this as it flew away.
This is one that was filmed there earlier.
Oh, this guy's throwing off pulses, Green.
Boy, he's hitting me with all kinds of energy.
Now, I didn't change the focus on this. The ship actually did
Whoa,
that.
he's blasting the camera
It totally
here.
expanded, just went out into infinite and then back again. It's amazing.
Back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. UFO. Identified flying object from the base.
Actually, there's a base in the area. The base has actually been measured through ground penetrating radar. We know exactly where it is, and actually we're sitting right on top of it. So it's a wonderful place there.
He's still lit. I got him. I got him the whole way.
I think it moves by a star here pretty quick, but for a reference point.
You see him? Yeah, do you see him? That's a ship right there.
This is a computer programmer that came up, and
Boy, you should see what he did to the
very
camera.
left brain when he just blew his
Started
mind.
filming, he just started blasting the camera.
My brother-in-law came up, who's been a total skeptic, and
Oh,
this
yeah,
flew
got
over it.
it.
It just changed his whole reality, and now he comes up over and over again to see the ships. There, it's going by a
There, he
star.
just went by a star.
Now, right after they fly past the
Down
ranch,
to the east.
you're going to watch this. It just dims out, and they just turn off. And so they wait till they get right over the ranch, and they power up.
I started filming him. Now he's out. Hey, you got to see a UFO.
Oh, yay!
It's a little better shot here.
This guy.
Okay, we can cut that. This experience that's happening up there, what they're doing is they really love what we're doing because we're very eclectic up there, and we're a place where we welcome all teachers and authors and people that are dedicated to the awakening and healing process. And we have yogis and lamas. We do a lot of Native American ceremony there. We do sweat lodge, medicine wheels. I always tell people after the sweat lodge or after an inner sensitivity training class, after we do the meditation work, I say get ready, because when you walk outside, don't freak out. You know, you might have a big golden ship sitting there, you know, cruising over the group, because you're ready. You've been prepared. You're in a good, cohesive group, and you're focusing on your own spirituality. You're rising to the occasion. And more often than not, we walk out and they're there. And they cruise right over the sweat lodge and light up, and they give us the little high five, you know, saying, they're like cheerleaders. They're going, okay, okay, keep going, you know. They're like, I call them little cosmic cheerleaders. And they want us to live according to the principles that they live. And basically, they focus primarily on universal peace and brother-sisterly love, and they see the Creator in all creation. They've transcended all cultural and all religious barriers, and they're in full service mode. And they serve creation, and they see us as a part of creation that really needs help right now. We don't know how to do anything other than war on each other and war on the planet, and they had time periods like that in their history that they transcended, and they're coming back right now to help us transcend our aggressive behavior and our concept of separation and a lot of the things that we do. And mainly they're working on an inspirational level. And if we rise to the occasion and we ask for help and we really start acting on this and moving in this direction, they will come in, but they're not going to trespass. They're not going to force their will on anybody else. It's against universal law. So it's up to us to make that decision. And as a collective, if we make that decision, they have the free energy. They have energy systems you would not even dreamed of yet. Some of these are on the planet right now. We know where they are. They're just waiting for an avenue to come out. They can totally clean up the planet. They can actually locate specifically any element, any toxin, and change its nature. And they have the ability to do that. But they can't intervene. They have done a little bit as we go, because basically if they didn't intervene, evolution would be over here. So they have intervened several times on our behalf to make sure that we continue to evolve. And they've intervened with, the missile silos. They've intervened quite a bit with showing us that our technologies can get out of hand. They've taken over computers. They've taken out firing mechanisms of missiles. They've done a lot of this to show that, basically we need to wake up and really rethink, having these kinds of technologies and using them, in the wrong way. So, and they are, watching very closely right now. Again, we need to make a conscious decision to align with universal peace and brother, sisterly love and start cleaning up our consciousness and our planet, and they will jump right in and help us. But to do it for us, we would just not learn anything. We wouldn't evolve, and we'd just keep messing things up. And a lot of people go, oh, we're just going to be beamed up to another planet. And what are you going to do? Infect that planet? And to destroy it? It's like they're not going to do that. They're going to inspire us to get our act together. But we need to do this. Another thing I wanted to say is that I have testimony, it's actually on this film, of physicists, top physicists that a lot of people know that are coming forward and speaking about this. That's not my gig. You can see I'm putting just normal people on there to tell their story about what they saw, because this is what it's all about. It's not about waiting for the government to do this for you. It's not about waiting for the scientists on this planet. They're aligned with keeping the status quo going, doing this for you. This is a grassroots thing. This is about the people standing up, making their own personal connection with spirit, whatever you want to call that, standing up for their own sovereign rights to free will and self-determination. And you have a right to live on a whole and healthy planet in sovereign control of your destiny. And that's what they're all about, and that's what they're inspiring. So it's all about us rising up as a collective and doing everything we can to divert. We can alter this whole path right now. Again, we're having a choice. We're being given a choice through the media to choose fear, to choose war. We've got the war industry running this country. We've got the oil industry running this country. And the pharmaceutical industry is running this country. Look at the assets of the people in office. You'll see why we don't have peace. You'll see why we don't have free energy. You'll see why we don't have the cure. All of that is here right now. It's ready. It's ready to come in. But we have to stand up as individuals and collectively and choose to operate according to the universal principles that are necessary for a healthy society and environment. And we need to transcend the cultural and the religious boundaries and focus on what's really important. And that's the basics that every master is taught, which is, love the source with all your heart, whatever you call the source. Honor each individual, as a unique expression of God. And honor the Creator and all creation, the sacred circle of life, because you're not disconnected from it. Because in the sea of consciousness, whatever you want to call that, the unified field, everything is connected. We're all connected. And if one is suffering, we're all suffering. And if we're blowing up one nation and killing kids and women and children, then that's karma. We're creating that no matter what. No matter if we wave the flag and do it for God and country or whatever else, those are children of God too, that we're, perpetrating our industries on, you might say. So that's the main thing, is that we're going to have to rise up individually and make a choice. We're going to have to hold our religious leaders and our political leaders to that choice as well. And then we're going to have universal peace, and brother, sisterly love will come in. Some of the things coming up right now I wanted to talk about is I want to go in, let's cue up the pictures before I go into this. I want to go into a couple more pictures here. Go ahead and cue up the first picture. I want to show you a way you can make contact. Okay, now this particular picture, if you look closely at this, Tom Dongo actually took this picture. And he said, okay, I want you to do something bizarre. And I said, okay, how about out of body? And he said, all right. So you can see the rings. We're starting the vortex. I'm spinning the rings. You can see the rings of energy around. You can see my head down below. My eyes are closed. Above, my other head is coming in. That's your next form. That's your next form above this physical level. Now, as I move up out of my body into the next level, everything is physical on that frequency to me, because I'm in a body that's resonating or vibrating at that frequency. So everything at that frequency is no whole nother world. It's a whole physical world. And that's how you connect with a lot of these higher beings. You go up to the next level. You rise to the occasion. And when he took this picture, it blew his mind, because in the bottom one, my eyes are closed. The top one, my eyes are open. This isn't a double exposure. He's very well known for his camera expertise. And it pretty much blew his mind. Let's go on to the next photo. Okay, this photo was taken by a couple friends of ours in the audience here. What's really nice about there's a lot of people in this audience that have been up to the ranch and have seen the ships themselves, and that's where the real testimony lies, from personal experience. But Cosmos and Cosmo here were just up at the ranch, and they got a real strong message that it's time to go up. And I want to tell you there's some really wonderful things that happened on 9/11 other than the World Trade Center. Because on 9/11 we were given the message to go up. I couldn't go up because of certain events that happened. They went up to the vortex and brought their cameras up with them. And you can see here the vortex starting to open right here. Let's go on to the next slide, or the next photo. Here again, you can see right here the vortex is starting to open. There's a cylinder, kind of a cylinder appearing. Okay, let's go to the next one. They're stepping down their vibration. They're coming into this vibration. You can see right here something starting to come in. It's starting to form. Here's the vortex. This is right next to Mount Adams. There's a real special place here. Okay, let's go to the next one. And here they are. Okay, can we zoom in on this guy a little bit? On the ship itself? There we go. Okay, it's hard to see because it's washed out a little bit from the film, but you can see there is a coronal field. The ship is actually purple. There's an intense purple light around this ship. There's a trail coming here. This thing came out of the vortex, went around, made a little vapor trail around, and then appeared right here. And what's really important is these pictures are all taken by guests. They're taken by people, guests and UFO investigators. There's been no alteration. All these pictures come with the testimony of the individual that took the pictures. And even the video, a lot of it's been analyzed. Jim Delatosa analyzed some of it, and he said there's no evidence of a hoax because these craft are putting out perfect light. So these are definitely, real-time events that are happening in their physical craft. Can that come into focus a little better, or is that the best we can do?
That's it.
Okay. We'll back off on that. So, okay, well that's it for those. The rest of this, the events that are happening up there are all happening for a reason, and one of the reasons that they're happening is that they've asked us to come forward and with a 3-part series of things that we're working on. And the 3-part series that we're working on is, the first part of this series is documentation. And the documentation phase is pretty much done because we have 12 hours of footage we have a huge witness log. We have over 2,000 witnesses that have come up and seen the ships. We've got astrophysicists, plasma physicists, top physicists in the field that have come up, that have gone on tape, that have seen the ships, that will all say these are nothing known to us, especially by their characteristics. They're definitely unknowns. They're definitely unidentified flying objects. And they also will go on testimony saying they're not our back-engineered stuff because of the qualities that they exhibit. And these people know. They know what we have. And so that's the first phase. ABC has come out. They've aired it. Fox News has come out. ABC has come out twice. They'll probably be coming out again. We're working with other people as well, getting ready to do some more documentary of this and getting this information out. Hopefully everybody will buy this video and send it out and take it out to your local cable place and say, hey, will you play this? There's a lot of ways of getting this out. We're on a shoestring budget. One of the things we've done here, it's real interesting, we have outgunned NASA and SETI, with a $200 camcorder. So something's wrong with this picture, And so There's two things going on here. One is they could possibly be under government constraints and they can't release this information, and everything does go through NSA, you know, before it gets out to the public. That's one possibility. The other possibility is they might be going about it all the wrong way, you know. So, and this is a very, you've got to rise to the occasion. You've got to dedicate yourself to you know, the awakening healing process, and the protocols for contact are pure intent and having an open mind and a loving heart. And it's not that hard. It's not that difficult. Finding the impeccable integrity to maintain that, that's difficult. So that's the hard part. And we all have a choice in everyday lives as to whether we're going to work in the highest and best good of humanity on the earth, or are we going to work selfishly or move in that direction, or maintain the status quo. The status quo is totally unsustainable right now. There's 50 dead zones in your ocean that people aren't talking about. The phytoplankton is not there. The phytoplankton is the food source for the, you know, the little crustaceans which the fish eat, and then on down the line, you know, the bigger fish, the whales, the dolphins. You know, they're swimming through these areas, and some of them are beaching themselves because there's not enough food. They're also beaching themselves because of runaway technologies, the ELF sonar, the low-frequency sonars and things like that. Those are actually creating aneurysms and very harmful. It's just driving them right out of the water. And this is insane. These are things we have to stop. Now these beings, these low pulses that they have, this is similar technology, but it's very advanced technology. It's used to awaken and heal. It's not used destructively. It doesn't harm anything. The technologies that we have right now with these sonars, HARP, chemtrails, all this stuff is very, very destructive. And it's dumbing you down, and it's harming you physically. They're using HARP in the biological spectrum right now, and that needs to be shut down. Not immediately, it needs to be brought down slowly. If you shut it down too fast because of what they're doing, they're energizing the Aurora electrojet. They're putting something like 200,000 terawatts into the system. Everybody thinks they're doing a little gigawatt thing, you know. That's not what they're doing. And there's a real danger in this, because in electrifying and energizing that system, that's the Earth's energy fields. And we are energy beings, and it's affecting us, and it's affecting all life right now. And there's transmissions that we're monitoring that are very scary that are coming from us. And it's not just us, there's other countries that have this. And there needs to be some type of a global unity, a global calling out that, hey, we can't play there anymore. Tesla, all of them said, do not get in the biological spectrum. Stay out of it. Don't go there. They're there, and they're playing with it right now. And they don't even know the outcome of this. So this is kind of wacko science going on right now. And this is why the ETs are here as well. They're just going, oh my God, you know, what are these people doing? So there's a major wake-up call. You know, we've got the chemtrails going on. There's a lot of things behind that too you need to look at. And you need to call out and say, knock it off. You know, there's other ways of shielding the big holes in the ozone that we blew in there. You know, there's other technologies that can be used to do that. And actually they're using them right now. There's gigantic craft, and I have photos of all this stuff. It'd be a much longer presentation. But there are gigantic craft as big as the Earth sitting in front of the sun, which is in a mega solar cycle right now, which hasn't quit. It was supposed to quit 2 years ago. We're still being hit by incredible coronal mass ejections and solar flares. And those energize the electric fields around the body. It throws people into process. People have emotional outbursts, start projecting. It vibrates all your stuff and brings it up to the surface. It creates severe weather, an increase in volcanic and earthquake activity. The Earth is heating up right now. It's expanding. These other little things we're doing aren't going to work. We're actually trapping the heat in the Earth right now. So it's actually going to accelerate it. So we need to really rethink and get some enlightened scientists in there and take this out of the military industry and give it back to the people to oversee what's going on with these projects. Because right now it's totally in the hand of the military industry, because the military industry, as I said before, the oil industry, those are the guys running the show right now. And you know, and they have a mindset, and that mindset is to create the most powerful, destructive, controlling, manipulating weapon we can create and be one up on the so-called enemy. which we financed and created and trained, and so it's just wacko. We need to see through the veil of everything we're being shown right now, get behind it, and look at what's really going down, and that's what's important right now. And this is what the ETs are saying right now. They're not here as our saviors. They don't want to be worshipped. I tell people when they come to the ranch, I'm not your guru. I'm not your master or whatever else. You are. That we're going to give you techniques so you can make your own personal connection with Source or Spirit, and that's it. And if you follow me, you're lost, because I have my own journey, and everybody here has their own unique purpose for being here. We just help you sort that out and get in touch with it, and help you, empower you as an individual to go forward, and that's our function. And that's part of what's going into our threefold path. Part of that threefold path that we're doing up there is that the first one is the documentation process, getting back to that and disseminating it, getting it out, and it's public acclamation to let people know what's going on. And the second phase is to get a military stand down to stop the military aggressive actions and bring ambassadors up to greet them on a higher level and rise to the occasion. And the third step is full interface so that we can join the rest of the universe, because they're waiting. They're waiting for us to rise to the occasion and stop the warring and stop, the petty bickering and all the little cultural nonsense that's going on, because we're all in these little earth suits, and we all came from the same place. We all came from the Creator, whatever you want to call it, in spirit. We're all the same. We're all, but down here we're doing the little separation earth suit game, and we need to get beyond that. It's like, yeah, you killed an earth suit, so what? Spirit's going to go on. It's going to come back. It's going to get you next time. It's like we need to get out of that karmic loop. And that's the main thing. What we have a chance right now is to get out of that karmic loop. I asked the Palladians that we're working with, I said, can you give us one reason, just give us one clear reason why you're here that I can deliver, to the people I speak to. And they said, we're here to help you release the past. And then I said, okay, can you get a little more specific with that, And they said, well, it's your past that's creating your tomorrow. And you're holding on to the past, and you're holding on to all the old wounds and traumas. And that's what's in the now creating your tomorrow. And they said, we're here to help you release the past and release the old wounds, the old traumas, the old need for revenge. And that's in the Middle East and these other countries that are going on. We're here to assist, and they're doing that on a vibrational level. And they're doing that energetically, and they're helping the earth release a lot of this and helping us release a lot of this. Because the earth body is releasing this, our body is releasing it. It's all connected. And it's real important to realize that every one of us, we bought this ticket. We bought this earth ticket, whatever you want, the E-ticket I call it. And, we all came from Source. We're all born out of the original light, and we all came from Source, And gods and goddesses don't do boring things, So, this is a challenge. It's a fun, you can either freak out and go, oh, God, they're going to get me, or you can go, hey, let's shift this. Let's turn this around. I'm going to call upon the Lord God of my being, whatever you want to call that. I'm going to bring this in. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to become the most powerful, awesome, loving, joyous being I can, and I'm going to transmute this. And you all have that ability to do that. And these beings have done that. But again, we can only be an example and teach through example and get our own lives together first, and then our families will follow, and our friends will follow, and the other nations will follow. So that's the main message that they're getting, is they're trying to help us release the past. They're working energetically to inspire a lot of people. Their hands are tied on a lot of things because they can't interfere in, the universal law, but they will intervene if evolution is going to be threatened, and then we can't go forward in evolution. So they will step in, and basically we aren't going to have a thermonuclear war. That's not an option. So they will step in on that account because evolution's over, So that's one thing they will step in, because they have their people here and their bases here. And there's other civilizations living here that are not part of this, that don't need to experience this reality. The main thing I wanted to open it up for questions. I think we've got a few minutes left here. There's so much going on right now the main thing I want to leave with people, that it's very, very important that each individual take the time, take the quiet time, take the time out in nature. I want you to go out if you can, find yourself a quiet spot, and just say, I want to know. That was the prayer of a very powerful master that once walked this plane 2,000 years ago. What he said was, I want to know. And don't take your information from the media. Don't take it from, the newspaper, the TV, or whatever else. Just take some time out in nature and say, I want to know, and get the truth from within yourself. And that is so important right now, that because when we get bombarded with all the other nonsense that we're seeing, it's time for us to go within and ask, is this real? Does this feel right? That whole Trade Center thing doesn't feel right. We're going after the wrong person. So it's very important that we go within and feel this. There were several groups involved in that, a consortium. It wasn't just, a guy out in the middle of the desert, with a ragtag, tent place, with a bunch of sticks and stones out there. People are jumping and fire hoops are jumping through. It's much deeper than that. This was set up a long time ago. And it's important that we go within and go, okay, who is involved with this? And then take it to the next level and say, why are they doing this? Have they lost families? What creates the terrorist? Have they lost families? Have they been bombed? Have they, who financed them? Who created them? Who trained them? And then just keep going and just get to the core issue. And that's what we all need to do, is go within and get our answers from within from here on out, and choose the upward spiral. Choose universal peace and brother, sisterly love, and choose to serve the Creator within all creation. And we're going to make it through these times. And I believe that all of you are very, very powerful beings. You're very vast. Beyond this personality and this body, you're incredibly powerful beings. And you all can make a very big difference. And all you got to do is tap into that power, that source. And you're in there. And with that, I bow to the power within each and every one of you. And I ask that come forward. And open it up for questions, if anybody has any questions. Thank you.
First, I want to thank you for your work, for being here. I feel that you brought the energy now that has been here right along, but yet, excuse me, you put it together. Because I had come to one of these before, and I read a book about the the Pleiadians were here, and then I heard that they had pulled out because we have whatever, the thing in New York and stuff. And I really came with a heavy heart after hearing that, my heart became very heavy after hearing that. And you've given me a lot of faith, a lot of hope, a lot of love, a lot of possibilities that we will make it this time. We won't choose the materialistic way of life. We'll choose love, which my girl, Christ, told me that we needed. That's the only thing that would save us. So I just want to thank you.
Thank you. I wanted to say one thing real quick. As far as me bringing this energy here, I totally bow to the energy that you brought here as well, because you all brought this energy here, and we're all activating this right now within each other, and that's what it's all about. It's not about me, it's about each individual standing up for what they know in their heart is true. And I very much thank you for bringing this knowledge and this wisdom and this energy as well. Thank you.
You talk about love, and I think it's so important, especially after what happened. And I decided in my life, anybody I care for, I'm going to tell them I love them, because I don't want to leave this world and not having said that. And then I have a question for you too. Is God, being all-powerful, is he planning on the second coming of the Christ?
God isn't really a he. It's
I know,
neither.
it's-
It's neither is she either. I'll tell you my experience with the source. It's a pure golden white light. It's pure consciousness and energy, and it doesn't have an ego. And it's like the sun, and it just shines on each, and it goes as you wish, as you wish. And we get to create out of the God substance whatever we want according to our consciousness, but we live in an action-reaction world where whatever we create comes back to self. And so it's all about individual responsibility. As far as the second coming of the Christ, it's more like the second coming of the Christ consciousness within each individual that is coming in. And when that happens, yes, you will see the Christ, and you'll see many, many other masters all arm in arm coming in to assist in this time as we rise to that occasion and allow the Christ consciousness within each individual to come forward. Because the second coming is coming through spirit, and it's coming through each individual, and it'll eventually shift. The 100th monkey, whatever you want to call it, the critical mass will shift, and we're going to move into the next phase, the next dimension.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody hear me? I believe that, like you, that we are all here by choice, and we don't have anything that isn't choice. There's nothing on the planet or in the universe that is not brought about by choice. I also believe that we've all shared in the negative side of choice, and it was because our negative choices that we have what we have here on our planet or in the universe. I don't believe that the Almighty is male or female. I believe that Almighty is all and nothing at all, therefore encompassing everything. I believe that we're part of that being, and in our being we have what we have. And I believe, like yourself, that we can recreate everything and draw upon universal powers and or entities that understand those powers, and go with the natural source versus the sources of the unnatural. I appreciate you as well as you appreciate us.
Oh, thank you.
I would say this, that in anything that we do, I believe that the Creator looks upon us like we would look upon a 1 or 2 year old child. So there is no damning us from the Creator. If we choose damnation, then that's what we have through our own choice, not the Creator's choice. I also believe that the unifying factor is love, and the disunifying factor is fear.
Exactly.
And fear has no part in love. Therefore, if we go to the understanding of love, and that we don't judge anything or anyone, we observe it, see what it is, know what it isn't, then we will have a greater choice, not through damnation, but through creation.
Thank you. Yeah, it is. Basically, we've never been judged. We hold our own records. And if we want to release, this karma, we can release it as well within ourselves by calling forward that non-judging essence that people call Source or God, or they have many, many names for it. But we hold our own records. We create our own karma. We're responsible for our own destiny. And when you understand this, you have the power to change destiny, both individually and collectively. And that's our entire focus, is to change the destiny of Earth right now to the upward spiral and get things going in the right direction, the highest and best good of humanity in the earth.
Yeah. Also, what I believe that most masters like you have spoken of understand that it doesn't take that many people to start something like a loving understanding versus a judgmental or fearful type of understanding to make great change.
Exactly. Yeah, thank you very much.
It's an agreement.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I didn't have a question.
James, I just wanted to ask you if you could comment a little bit about the Blessed Mother. She's appearing all over the world. And about 4 years ago at a conference like this, a gentleman brought a sphere that a little grandma lady in Medjugorje had taped, and it's like the sun pulsed and then it spun.
Yes.
And can you just talk a little bit about her role? She's on the front of your book, and just what you know as a master about her.
We have photos actually of Mary appearing up at the ranch, and it's the divine feminine energy coming in right now. And it's very important that that come in and balance out the old patriarchal energies. And so there's a process happening where, you know, Mary, Kuan Yin, Buffalo Calf Woman, Isis, a lot of these feminine energies are really coming in right now and balancing out the old male patriarchal energy. And with that next phase, what happened with me is the Palladians came in after that. And because I was balanced at the time, I was working very closely with the feminine energies. Most of my teachers were feminine, by the way, since the near-death experience. And they opened the doors to there's an Orion Council of Light that comes in after that. And if you're not really balanced when that energy comes in, it'll just fry you. And so they're preparing us to move forward. And then, well, another thing, too, to get to your question is that Mary, when these masters ascend, they go to places like the Pleiades. And you can't really separate Mary from the Palladian energy or Buffalo Calf Woman or several other incarnations.
So when the sun spins, are those ships that people are seeing and they kind of pulse just...
Yes. Those are Andromedan.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks for being here. I
Thank
love
you.
what you have to share.
Is there any important timelines, maybe such as the year 2012, that the Palladians have talked about that would help us prepare ahead of time?
Yes, what they told us mid-September that everything was going to bust loose. And we asked them for specific details, and they wouldn't give them to us for various reasons. Because when you release information like that, then you get targeted. Because everybody goes, well, how'd you know? And, you know, it creates a lot of problems. But they said it was going to be very social, economic, and some, you know, kind of war type thing or whatever you want to call it. But they wouldn't give us specifics. And then they also told us, too, that between now and 2004, things are going to get very intense. There's going to be a lot of balancing of karma and a lot of movement happening in this area. So we're going to go through a lot of change between now and 2004. And at 2004, it starts balancing over, and we start moving more into enlightenment or the age of gold or God or whatever you want to call it. And then after that, up to 2000, we've got a magnetic pole shift in there, and then a possible even physical pole shift. But I think these things will be averted if we get our act together. We will get divine intervention on these elements. I'm pretty sure we are going to have a magnetic pole shift, and that's not too far away. And we are going to move into the physical pole shift. Can be altered, it can be stopped, and I'm really hoping in our work here together as individuals that we can bring in enough divine intervention to show that we're worth allowing to continue, because right now we're a very dangerous species, and we're actually quarantined, you know, because we are so dangerous. Thank you.
I have not missed a single lecture session this entire week. And I've been waiting for one word this whole week, and I have never heard it. And I think it would help those people who don't quite know how to relate by love. The word came up in a discussion of an interview with the Dalai Lama. Somebody asked him, what is your religion? And he said, kindness. So kindness is a step in toward love.
Yes. I think if we all mastered kindness, that, you know, that's a basic thing. That's the universal law, you know, kindness. It's all about just being kind to each other and being kind to the planet. You know, it's that simple.
Good morning. And good almost afternoon. I guess I'd have to say that the Creator would have to say, I have all the problems in hand today. Can everyone just have a nice day? I just wanted to know, it's good to know that there are other people out there that hasn't just experienced the same thing that I've experienced too. The things that you've shown that are on the ranch, I've seen them in daylight ever since I was a boy. And I just wanted to say thanks to everybody for their positive karma.
Oh,
P.S.
thank you.
Fletcher, have a nice day.
I think we got about 5 more minutes. Can we cue that other video up, the second video? Just let it run. There's some images and pictures on there that I didn't think I'd have time to run, but we'll just run them so you all can see some of the things happening up there. We have, it's number 2, just let it run further. But we have photos of actually contact in process where huge beams are coming right down on my head while I'm meditating. We've got Mary's energy, pink beams coming out, stretching out, appearing there. We have photos of the ships, all different types of ships, but I thought it was much more important. This is one right here. I felt it was much, much more important to get this other message out and give people time to talk. And again, this is all about, it's not about me standing up here and talking. And what I very much value, believe it or not, is people came up, they didn't have questions. They came up to share something. And I really honor that because we all have something to share. And it's not so much me answering questions, it's allowing the space for everyone to go ahead and share, you know, share what they're, from their heart of heart, what they feel and what's going on.
James, I just wanted to ask you, you had said you had a near-death experience that changed you. Can you kind of tell us a little bit about that and how it changed you?
Well, what happened is I was doing commercial real estate, and you know, I had big fancy car, the boat, you know, the whole 9 yards, and office people working with me. And I went through the tunnel that everybody talks about, and I ended up in a golden light, a pure light, and it was just the most blissful, loving, joyous thing I could experience. And it was totally life-changing. And when I came back, I realized what the source is, and it wasn't anything of what I was taught earlier. And so coming back with that experience and my own personal God connection, which continued, then I studied all the different faiths and all the different religions and started sifting through them. And they're like eating an orange, you know, you peel them, you eat the meat and spit out the seeds. But I found the universal principles in every faith and every culture. And it changed my life profoundly. I left, I sold everything, I gave a lot away, and I went up into the redwoods and lived because I was ultra sensitive and I couldn't handle the lack of congruency within people, because people think one thing, say another, and feel yet another. And I was getting 3 different messages, and it was really hard. So it took me a long time to get grounded again to where I could come back out and deal, you know, with humanity from the point of non-judgment and maintain that space. I guess that's it. For questions, I just want to thank everyone for being here. I want to thank the audiovisual crew back here. They're doing a great job. You know, we all want to give them a good round of support. And also Bob and Terry for their efforts here and going forward with this despite, you know, what happened. And it's time for us all to gather together during these events and support each other. And mainly, I just want to thank each and every one of you for going through your struggles to get here. I'm profoundly thankful and grateful that you made it and came to share. And that's it. Thank you very much.